All right, it is Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022. And if it's Tuesday, that can mean only one thing. It's time for Comic Book School Live, because at Comic Book School, we own Tuesdays. And I'm so excited that you're here. We've got a really interesting show tonight for those of you who are creators or aspiring creators who want to understand the nuances of breaking the fourth wall. We have a special treat for you tonight. But speaking of special treats, I want to introduce you to my longtime friend, a three-time Emmy Award-winning television writer, and my Mr. Miyagi. Please welcome Mike Fasolo.
Hi, bud.
You are my Miyagi.
Wow, that's impressive.
That is.
I did not know that.
Was probably from the time I stayed at your house and made me wax your cars, but that was about it.
Yeah, you know,
that was it.
If you're gonna stay, you got to pay.
I've stayed a couple times. We have enjoyed many soup wontons together.
Yes, and those are delightful.
They really are delightful, and I think tonight's show is going to be delightful, Mike. Oh, look at this. We already have comments. Mike is giving us the popcorn. He's ready. And Aaron, we finally catch a live episode. Man, I miss you guys. We miss you too, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron, where you been?
Yeah, where you been? Aaron has been off on her own adventures. And there's the robe. It makes it all worth it. You're right.
Yes, it does. Yes.
And now the audience is talking amongst themselves. Mike and Redhead are talking to each other. So it's a good time. We have a decent show for you, Mike. Maybe not a great show, but pretty good, I would say.
I think they're all great.
Did you do your homework? Did you do some planning and everything?
Well, you sent me that email saying do some research, and I promptly ignored it.
Why?
So I mean, I know enough about She-Hulk and fourth wall stuff. You know, yeah, give me a quiz.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to give you a quiz in a minute. I'm going to give you a quiz, but
true.
Disney announced their new slate of movies. They dropped a whole bunch of trailers. We talked about that in the last show, but one of the one that was most intriguing was the trailer for She-Hulk. Would you like to see it?
Yes. Which one? I like the second one better.
All right, so I'm going to show it to you now.
If you want to go back to life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
And there it is.
That's the whole trailer.
A 2-second clip that tells you what about these characters, Mike?
Well, the question that I have is it going to be that fourth wall break all the time or occasionally?
Well, I think it's a good question. And I think that we're going to dive into the history of where that fourth wall break came from She-Hulk, but also talk about what it means for writers, because I understand you are something of a keyboard smith. Is that right?
I've written a few things here and there.
Have you ever written anything that broke the fourth wall?
No, I have not. But now
Even
I have.
Robot Chicken?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure maybe. No, I don't think so.
How many seasons have you been writing for Robot Chicken?
11.
11 seasons.
11 seasons.
Vince came in with a beer and pancakes, apparently. I'm not sure.
I like pancakes.
I'm not sure about the beer and pancakes. I don't know how well that goes in. Now the audience is talking amongst themselves again. And Vince did an elbow cough. I'm not sure why he did an elbow cough, but apparently he did. But I'm fascinated by the beer and pancakes. Is that
I don't even see the beer and that one.
Vince is from a faraway country, Canada.
Oh, that Canada.
Canada. It's a Canadian thing. All right, it is a Canadian thing. That's what I was thinking. I've been to Canada, and it is such a great country, and I really do love it. So, hey, he's a Canadian. And it looks like it came from the radio, said that they are a huge fan of the Byrne run on She-Hulk. So you're in for a treat. But Mike, the first thing that happened when people saw that trailer, they immediately went to the last Marvel movie that broke the fourth wall. Do you remember that movie?
Deadpool.
So I got a little clip here where in the trailer, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall. Hold on. Canadians, they walk among us. Yes, they do. And they're tall. They tend to be very tall. Or everybody seems tall to me.
Tall Canadians.
Everybody's tall to me.
Tell me they got that in slow motion.
Oh wait, I got to take off Ruth's banner. Hold on. I take off
Oh.
the comment. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Why?
There you go.
Oh,
Because it covered the. Here we go. You ready?
Tell me they got that in slow motion.
So he was actually breaking the fourth wall. It was a really cool scene, but I can't show the. I don't know what happens if you show the whole trailer, but
Oh, yeah.
I have to figure nothing. But
Probably nothing. I would have shown the clip where he's breaking the fourth wall inside a fourth wall break.
is it really?
Yeah, he does that in the first one. He flashes back, and inside that break he breaks the fourth wall. So it was a fourth wall
wow.
break inside a fourth wall break. He goes, that's like 16 walls.
Well, tonight, Mike, I've prepared a couple of examples of characters that have broken the fourth wall. And hold on. That's like 16 walls. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I didn't know you were so good at math. All right, so here we go. So I am going to share, actually, as I was doing some research for this, Mike, and I was thinking about how the Marvel Comics characters and the TV show characters break the fourth wall, but somebody made a great point. Bugs Bunny broke the fourth wall all the time.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Am I right? That's kind of cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For kids, it's great.
It was
And then
great.
he's talking to the kids.
He was. That's said. Y'all said it twice, so that's like 32 walls. All right, we're gonna share a screen and we're gonna show. There you go. So, Mike, I put another slide presentation together because I love you and the rest of our community. What do you think?
I think the slide presentation looks wonderful, bud.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
In interviews, Byrne references that he got the idea from Shakespeare. You'd think like Ruth knew something about trivia.
Did Shakespeare break the fourth wall?
I don't know. I will have to. Lots of Looney Tunes guys. Daffy, Elmer, and Bugs. Oh yeah, remember Daffy where he had the nitroglycerin and he says this is a trick that you can only do once?
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
That was one of everybody's favorites. All right, so Mike, put it together a few slides. So first, Savage She-Hulk. Do you remember this comic from 1980?
Yeah.
Do you remember her origin, how Jennifer Walters became the She-Hulk?
From what I remember, she got injured in an accident, and her cousin, Bruce Banner, the Hulk, gave her a blood transfusion.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're welcome.
Oh, look at that. Shakespeare had people talk full exposition.
Interesting.
Interesting. So She-Hulk carried on for 25 issues, Mike, for a little over 2 years, and the issues were as dreadfully bad as you would imagine them to be. They were literally just a female version of Hulk Smash. There wasn't much else that was coming out of this. It was just one thing after another. It was just Hulk Smash, but with a female version. And if I have to bring this back, I don't know why I stopped sharing the screen, but if you look, check out her costume. Like Hulk had the purple pants. She has the, I guess, white ripped swimsuit look.
Because why? What else would you have?
What else would you have? Who wears that much white? So She-Hulk was pounding villains and never really found its audience, so it was canceled. The character bounced around. Now, this isn't in order of continuity or anything, but oh, look at this. Character could have had a robe on.
That's true. A robe would actually be pretty good because then, you could work in the expansion.
Right. That actually would have been a pretty. Where was Ruth when this was happening? Well, it was 1980.
Exactly.
So I think she was a little young to offer advice to Marvel Comics. But Fantastic Four, Avengers West Coast, Incredible Hulk, all appear. She appeared in all of these. Oh, that's right. It came from the radio. Made a great point. The TV show was getting popular. Remember?
Oh, yeah, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Do.
And she was made in defense to ensure that nobody else could rip off the character as if anybody was going to rip off the character, so they quickly whipped out She-Hulk, and it was not exactly a great run. Characters appeared in a number of other comics, but none better than the series that was by John Byrne. In this one, I'm showing you the full cover on the left, and then on the right, in this first issue, the character of She-Hulk is literally holding She-Hulk #1 in her hands and saying, okay, now this is your second chance. If you don't buy my book this time, I'm going to come to your house and rip up all your X-Men. So right away, Byrne sets the tone that this is going to be a meta series, Mike, that breaks the fourth wall and is self-referential. Came from all three of those issues. Do you? You had all three of those issues? Let's see what those look like. Yeah. Those are not my issues, but I do have those issues as well.
I don't have any of those issues.
No?
No.
You don't?
No.
Anyway, this series, Mike, by John Byrne, ran, I think, 50 issues. Somebody's going to have to check me on that. But it was the first issue where the character had a completely different approach, Mike. Not angry, not just one running around smashing things, and also breaking the fourth wall.
Something new.
Something new. But immediately in the cover, what I always liked was the character of She-Hulk is holding the original She-Hulk comic from 1980, which is kind of cool. So you knew it was going to be different. It was very meta. In this issue, she's actually reading an issue of the Hulk on the far left, if you see. And she says, Cousin Bruce. And then, funny dialogue quotes and different things. And, Surgeon General's office has determined that some of this scene does not appear in this magazine. So, like, it was already being self-referential. You could pick it up. So by issue 1, this famous panel appeared. Mike, can you read that for us?
Oh, great. Some anonymous bad guy is ready to spend $3 million to find out how tough I am. And I know how these things work. It'll be at least my 3rd issue before I find out who it is. Now she turns to the camera, breaks the 4th wall, although you readers will probably find out on the next page.
When I read this, Mike, my mind was blown.
Really?
It was. You know what it was? I just wasn't ready for it. Even though I had seen the covers, I just figured, the cover's whimsical. But I read this cold. I didn't know anything about it. And what the... That's true. She is wearing clothes on all the covers. That's right. Yeah. Part of the She-Hulk fun that Byrne put into it was, yes, she ripped out of her clothes sometimes, but primarily she had a good sense of fashion, or at least fashion for that time, which was kind of cool. So right here, this is probably the most famous panel of She-Hulk breaking the fourth wall. But then as the issues and the series go on, Mike, Byrne gets braver and more bold. Like, I felt like this was just a 2-panel sequence, kind of woke you up and said, what's happening here? But pretty soon, now these panels are a little small, so I just wanted you to get a whole sense of the page. Up here, she's telling a joke, and then on the bottom, so I just make it bigger, so I zoom in. So basically, she's telling the old joke. Hey, doc, it hurts when I do this with my arm. And what does the doctor say?
Don't do that.
Don't do that. And then they throw a pie at her face. And now she says, and now we return to our story in progress. That's pretty innovative when you consider that here in the narrative, not only does the character break the fourth wall, literally breaks the entire narrative. It has absolutely nothing to do with the story. It's just a 1-page gag that gives you a little bit of insight into the character's personality.
Now, do you think he planned this, or was it just like, I have nothing else to do, so I might as well just do anything I want?
I would imagine that John Byrne, at that time, could do anything that he wanted. He could pick up any character, any series, and do whatever he wanted, and he chose to write and draw She-Hulk. And he had mentioned a few times that he believed that the character had a lot of joy that he wanted to show, and that the character shouldn't be this just savage, mindless character. So I do not think that this was lack of ideas, because the series itself was wildly inventive, took silly B-list villains elevated them and told great stories. So I would bet somewhere there's an interview where this is all planned out.
Interesting.
All right. What do you say? You want to see another one?
Yes, I would.
You would.
I would.
All right. So another full shot of the page. What I'd like you to draw your eye to is this. So in this particular scene, the character of Wheezy asks, so this character also breaks the fourth wall, says, how come every time your clothes rip, you don't end up naked? And on the right, far right here, you can see it says it is approved by the Comic Code Authority. So that's why there was never any mistakes or wardrobe malfunctions, Mike. It was because it was the Comic Code Authority. But I think it's great because wrote right into the story that the character was wearing clothing approved by the Comic Code Authority.
That's good. That's funny. That's meta.
Very meta. But what was interesting is in many of the fourth wall stories that I'll reference in the next couple of slides, the character is the only character that knows that there is an audience. This was an unusual story in that this particular character, Wheezy, who is probably referencing Louise Simonson, who was an editor at Marvel at the time and a writer as well, wrote her in as a character and had somebody to talk to. And they actually would have conversations like this one. Can you want to give a read on this one, Mike?
What? Byrne, what kind of game are you playing? Jennifer, control yourself. You're inked and colored, printed. There's a reader out there now.
So funny stuff, very amusing. Many times, John Byrne actually has the character speak to him in this series. So not only is the character self-aware that she is a comic character, she is self-aware that John Byrne is writing and drawing her.
She's trying to climb right out the panel.
Trying to climb right out. In this particular cover, she takes John Byrne and throws John Byrne over her shoulder and basically is walking off with him. That's John Byrne on the cover and says, hey, no fair. Renee said I can do anything on my first issue. So he had left the series for a little while and he was coming back. And then put your ego back in its box, John. I'm already letting you get away with more than I probably should on the inside. So right then and there, so anybody who was a fan of that original series knew that John Byrne did a solid run, left, and then was coming back, and this was his return. Stan and Jack frequently drew themselves into comic books, but this was an issue where John Byrne literally drew himself in on the cover. So what do you think so far, Mike? Would you be enjoying this if you were a reader? Would you like being in on the joke?
I guess it depends. I don't know. I'd have to read the comics to really see if it was just a fun story and a fun little breakaways. Like I love Deadpool. I thought Deadpool was great. But
well, I have some Deadpool here for you.
Okay.
Oh wow, a whole bunch of. Look at this. It's weird. This is the fifth wall. I think he's right when it comes to. So Wheezy was actually the blonde phantom from the 40s, but it came from the radio. Is it true that that's just Wheezy, or was Wheezy named after Louise Simonson, who was called Wheezy? Oh, Louise Grant Mason, formerly the blonde phantom. There you go.
Called her Wheezy?
And I always thought it was Louise Simonson. I never knew that. So thanks to the internet that I've been humiliated on our show live in front of tens of people. Reminds me of Duck Amuck. What's Duck Amuck, Mike?
Duck Amuck. Must have been a fourth wall break character. Oh, you know who else they broke the fourth wall with? Animal Man.
Funny that you should say that. We'll be on that in 30 seconds, Mike. So Ruth gets some points. And right, it came from the radio. So Mike, let's get back to our beautiful slides because I think you'll like what I'm about to show you next. Did you know that I was going to show this?
I did not know you were going to show that, but I was trying to think of other comics that broke the fourth wall. And
so tell me what's happening in this issue. Do you remember?
I don't remember the issue, but I remember that Animal Man used to talk to the audience and talk to his creator because that was somehow we figured out he was a comic book character. Something like that.
It was a little bit crazy. I would say that it was probably about 10 issues in advance. Grant Morrison and Chaz Trog, I'm not pronouncing that right, were working on Animal Man, and they had rebooted the series, and they started to drop hints that there was some sort of meta reference. And in the end of 26, in the end of issue 26, Animal Man realizes that he is indeed a comic book character. So you can see on the left the full page that is supposed to be Grant Morrison drawn in there, and Animal Man asks who he is. You want to read that caption there?
I don't think I can read it.
Can't read it? Animal Man asks him, he says, "Me, I'm the evil mastermind behind the scenes. I'm the wicked puppeteer who pulls the strings and makes you dance. I'm your writer." And boom, that's it. Next issue, Animal Man and Grant Morrison go on a journey where they talk to each other, and they are both aware that Grant Morrison is indeed writing a comic book. And he says, "Get up, there's nothing wrong with you. It's only a comic." And he says, it's not only a comic, it's my life. So very meta, very twisted stuff. So before we go into the Deadpool stuff, what do you think, Mike?
I remember reading some Animal Man, and I was like, I wasn't a fan of it when they did that, but again, I like Deadpool.
I love all those meta references. Now they're still talking about Daffy Duck. Daffy fights.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, that was a good
gets
one.
erased and redrawn as a flower. And then Ruth says something to the effect of, "I love Squirrel Girl." Oh, Squirrel Girl and Bat might also break the. Does Batman break the fourth wall? I don't remember.
I don't know. Can
narration itself be considered breaking the fourth wall? No.
Definitively no.
I don't think it can be.
I think it probably could be, because it is talking to the reader itself, himself, herself.
But it's not the character breaking the fourth wall. It is the writer saying, and Stanley used to do this all the time. Yeah, like strap yourself in, true believers. And you'd read that was the publisher and the writer talking to the reader as simpatico,
That's
like
true.
They were in on something.
Not the character.
Yeah. So I would think so, which reminds me of the Naked Gun series. Did they talk to the screen in the Naked Gun?
I don't remember. They may have. It's very goofy. So
yeah, it could have been. I don't remember that. But you mentioned Deadpool, Mike.
Yep.
So let's take a look at Deadpool. So we went through the Animal Man. I found these on the internet. I don't know what issue they're in, but definitely a lot of Deadpool breaking the fourth wall. And in this one, he's telling the audience way back in issue 1, and Benjamin Franklin saying, "Are you talking to me?" "No, them." And they all say, "Who's them?" Forget it. It's too hard to explain in a one panel. Okay, so it's funny. And we got this one. "This is the foundation of reality, of eternity. Every event, every universe originates here." I guess I always knew, at least part of me did, but looking at it now, I can see the truth. This really is a comic book, isn't it? So that's a Deadpool. This one here, another one, the mercenary mutant mistress of mischief, Domino. What is that? It's a page recap. We explain stuff to the readers. Readers, it's a fourth wall thing. Don't be all tense for a change and go with the flow. I have a fan. I'm a one of one.
Oh, well, you're my favorite Deadpool author too.
Did you even know I wrote Deadpool?
Of course. What? Come on.
Did you ever read my Deadpool?
I never read it, but I know you wrote it.
Thanks. Thanks. We have some. So what was this? The Blade Runner cut with the voiceover. Who the hell is Harrison Ford talking to? Who is Harrison Ford talking to? Is he like an omniscient narrator?
Well, he could just be dictating into his diary.
Well, like you think about the omniscient narrator in American Beauty, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And he's dead.
Yeah, so I guess he is talking to us.
Right. Let's just put this up again, but he's my favorite Deadpool. All right. Cleveland Little is resting.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. That was excellent. Nice one, Vince. Well done.
Fourth
so we
wall
get back.
smash.
Yeah. So we get back to, I don't know how many more of these I have. Probably not many. Oh, no more.
Oh, well, that's good.
Reminds me of that scene in Fletch where he shows her how to do the tennis, and then there's no balls left, and he goes, "Good, better." So, Mike, that was it. So, breaking the fourth wall. In your mind, what are some of the rules as a creator if you're going to break the fourth wall? What would be some of the things that writers would want to know and think about?
Well, you definitely have to be in that meta headspace. Like, it's not something that you would just do in the middle of like a Downton Abbey or
Right.
some, very, hoity-toity kind of.
Do the thing again.
Hoity-toity. Someone wearing a robe wouldn't do it.
No, somebody wearing the robe wouldn't do it. But I will tell you though, I do think you're right. I think there has to be a character in a situation. It really works only in comedy, I think.
Yeah.
And only in comedy. I think there can be a narrator, but never breaking the fourth wall.
It did work in House of Cards.
It did work in House of Cards.
Yeah.
But they only did it once.
Oh no, he used to talk to the camera all the time.
Did he?
Yeah.
I only remember it in the first episode.
He did it often. Yeah.
Did he?
Yep.
It was a heck of a show.
It was a good show.
It was
for
a heck
a while.
of a show. Well, yeah, I think sort of later seasons started to fall apart. I think some of the rules are making sure that you time it the right way. And I think that, if you're in an action and adventure scene and there's a lot going on, if you take people out of it, they're out of it, right?
Yeah.
You go into a big action thriller and suddenly you're out of the scene. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, if you've gotten them that point, you want to hold on to them.
Yeah, it works great for Deadpool because it is a lot of action, a lot of fun, but you also know it's goofy, and so when he does it, you're not taken out of the scene. You're just like, oh, it's part of Deadpool.
It was part of Deadpool. So in the film Memento, he was talking to himself, but talking to us at the same time. I don't think so. What do you think? I think he was just the narrator.
He was talking to himself.
Right?
Well,
he was just talking to himself.
Who he was talking to someone. Yeah, that's true. Who?
I think like American Beauty, he's telling his story.
Yeah.
I think he's the narrator of his own story.
In Memento, he was talking to someone, but he was talking to what's his name? Joey Pantaleone.
Joe Pantaleone, right?
Yeah.
I think of a movie like Double Indemnity, right? Remember that movie? It was a black and white from the 50s, and it's a noir detective movie, and it's narrated. I just think it goes back to that tradition. I'm not sure if that's fourth wall, although I'm willing to be corrected. It came from the radio, so I'm willing to take it. So a rule that Ruth gave: don't overuse.
Good point, Ruth.
Easy to beat a joke into the ground.
Yes.
Right? It's easy. It's easy to abuse the privilege. It's a big thing now since reality TV gave younger stars a skewed view of screen interaction, like in Enola Holmes. I never saw that. Was that
I don't know that either.
It was a Netflix show, but I agree. I think we did not grow up in our generation at all, Mike, with the sense that we could make TV. Right?
No, we did not.
Right? We didn't even have a camera. I had like one of those little brownie cameras, and I had one spool of film, and that was it. My father was like, it's too expensive. And I'm like, all right.
All right, Dad.
I literally have one spool of film that I shot of me and my friends. And yeah, so I think there is definitely a generational aspect to it. So maybe more youthful storytelling by more youthful storytellers might be able to use it more effectively.
I think that's a good point.
Now, Mike, next week, I am going to ask you
to do research.
Tell me one of your favorite John Hughes films from the 80s. Can you name a favorite? Really?
Better Off Dead.
No, that was Steve Savage, right?
Oh, that was Savage Steve Holland. Who was
Savage Steve?
Give me some movies.
All right, so I'm going to give you a couple, and you tell me which one's your favorite. So,
Okay.
16 Candles,
No, didn't like that one.
Vacation,
Oh, Vacation. Yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
Ruth's just go,
Pretty in
and
Pink.
Ruth
No.
and Ruth called it.
Breakfast Club. Yeah, Breakfast Club was good.
So
Yeah.
next week, Mike, I'd like for you and for everybody to go out and rewatch The Breakfast Club, because my goal is to explain to you why The Breakfast Club is an excellent teaching tool for writing superhero comics.
Oh, that's interesting.
What do you think of that?
I think that's good. I hope you got some good points.
I do have some good points. So, so next week, everybody, you'll be checking out The Breakfast Club. So, watch it in advance if you can. And Mike, would you watch The Breakfast Club in advance to prep for next week's show?
I would. I will probably be watching it around like 3:30 or 4 o'clock next Tuesday.
I don't care when you watch
Because we own Tuesdays.
We do own Tuesday. So real quick, a little bit of housekeeping. Check out our friends. This is comic book. Oops. Let's pull Ruth down off there. Hold on. How do I do that, Mike?
Hit the button.
Ruth's quote comments. I got to pull Ruth because Ruth won tonight the award, that trivia award that I made up like at the moment. Right? Don't you forget about me. Breakfast Club is a little bit like X-Men in Detention. I never thought of it that way, Vince, but I will definitely utilize that and give you an asterisk for it. Mike in his robe, back to the camera, fist in the air, please. No, but I'm sorry, Andy. He was walking toward the camera in the final scene. If we're talking about the final scene, his fist, he's walking toward the camera. Holy hell, I hated The Breakfast Club. Well, Glenn, I hope to change your opinion so that you analyze it as a thoughtful comic book creator. How do you feel about that, Glenn? I think Glenn feels good about it. I like that people can't really respond to me, Mike. It sort of fits in my personality. Be sure to check out the Comic Book Advocates show. Rob Anderson, who has helped us many, many years with Comic Book School, actually does his own show, including the comics forecasts, the comic newswire, and Backer Pause. Mike, Rob has been actually moving in a slightly different direction. Yeah, I know I'm right, Andy. I know. Rob has been moving in a different direction. He's doing video shorts, Mike. So he does like the
TikToks,
20-second TikTok style videos. But he still does Backer Pause, which is actually a pretty fun watch. And then also be sure to check out Ruth Morrison, who is actually part of this live chat. She will be talking about The Sandman, which is a very special show because the Sandman TV show is about to launch on Netflix.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so she will test your Sandman knowledge. You have to go to com-nation.com or find it on YouTube. I'm sure, Ruth, if you are still there and are able to, please share that link in the show notes. So, Mike, I actually have to check this out. It's been a little while.
What?
It's been...
Wow, I'm way behind today.
It's been a hot minute. All rise together. Okay, so this was actually where I got most of those She-Hulk screenshots that I shared tonight, but I did find others on the internet. So special thanks to people who worked really hard scanning panels so that we could steal them tonight.
Well done, people.
So, Mike, you and I are both olds.
Yep, we are olds.
And I was sorting through some. Look at that! Yeah, look at that graphic. That is a heck of a graphic. Let's show that. Let's show that graphic one more time. Man, look at that graphic.
I still think there should have been a check mark in there somewhere.
You know what? You should let me design things from now on in the future. Aaron still doesn't let me design things. Anyway, I was going through my old stuff. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder. Do you know what that character is?
Steve Austin, yes.
Do you remember that?
$6 Million Man, yep.
$6 Million Man, where you would roll up his
plastic
rubber
arm, yep. And then you could look through his eye.
You could look through his eye. And
you could pull out the bionics in his legs.
That's right. And he is right now in the capsule the giant capsule that was
I don't think I had the capsule.
Yeah, I didn't actually have the capsule. I bought it at a garage sale. So I was so excited knowing that I'd be seeing you tonight, Mike. I wanted to show you this. Do you remember this magazine when we were kids?
Dynamite, absolutely. Love Dynamite.
I loved Dynamite
great.
magazine. So I found a huge box of Dynamite magazines, and I pulled a few of my favorite covers. And look, so she doesn't want me to design my own graphic. It needs a check mark. See that? The audience has spoken. Or as Ruth just said, a check mark. There you go. A person named Mark who's check.
Oh, Ruth.
Oh, Ruth, the puns. But anyway, Mike, what do you think? Should we do an episode on Dynamite magazine?
Well, why not?
Well, if I recall correctly, Jeanette Kahn was the publisher of this magazine, who then went on to become the publisher of DC Comics.
Really?
So it is tied into comic book history, and they did have quite a few comic book references and actual comic cartoons, and they even had their own comic strip in there. Do you remember what their comic strip was?
I don't remember what it was called, but I do remember I loved the magazine.
You do? Yeah, I do too. Do you still have yours?
No.
I love that cover. I love Happy Days and the Fonz. It was just my favorite. So anyway, Mike, that's about it for our show. That's it. Do you feel like people learned anything tonight?
Yes.
Or did I just cover something that I wanted to cover?
You were talking about stuff you love talking about, which was great.
I do. But next week, people should join us for our meta-analysis of The Breakfast Club and why it's an important learning tool for people who want to write superhero comics.
I am very interested in that.
Yeah, so am I. I'm going to
see how you tie it in together.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you so much. Where can they find you on the internets, Mike?
I'm on the Twitters and the Instagrams, although not really that much.
Are you posting anything at all anymore? Not really?
Every now and then I'll do a Twitters, but not really.
She-Hulk needs a robe.
That's true. Hulk and She-Hulk need a robe. It'd make the perfect clothes for them.
That would be meta-humorous. Anyway, Mike, we will see you next week. Please wait backstage, and I will talk one-on-one, mano-a-mano with our adoring audience.
You'll break the fourth wall.
I won't break the fourth wall. I'm actually breaking the fourth wall right now because during this entertaining broadcast, I am speaking directly to you, aspiring comic book creators, because there is so much to learn from the history of comic books. I do encourage you to go find Sensational She-Hulk. It is a terrific read, very entertaining. Some of it has aged better than other parts. Some of it hasn't aged well at all. But at the end of the day, what I really love about this is that John Byrne was inventive and creative, and let's face it, brave. When no one else was doing this sort of thing, Byrne took it to an extreme and really drove home the power of the medium, the ability for us as creators to stretch and try different things. This medium is unlimited in its power and its creativity. And I think you're right. Another episode breaks through. Right on, Mike. Mike does the art. But when we think about what we're going to create as creators, it doesn't have to always be breaking the fourth wall, but you should be inventive with your stories. If something seems easy and is just rolling off, you've probably seen it before and you're just recycling something that you've seen before. So really push yourself and try to find a creative angle, different ways to break down the panels, different ways to tell your story. Think about the different movies that you love, from Memento to Pulp Fiction, things that played with storytelling. So find the ways to tell stories that are more effective. You are the person that can make this happen. I believe in you. I look forward to seeing your comics. And let's go. I look forward to seeing your comics and seeing you again next week when we talk about The Breakfast Club. Thanks for joining us.